Well, hello there, and I do hope you're all well. Yes, this is part two of the Anne-Marie Trevelyan Out of Her Depth series, where the kick-off trying to get a straight answer out of her in the first video. And as you can see, it was quite brutal and painful to watch. Well, this is Lloyd Russell Moore, who's still trying to get a straight answer out of her on this same particular question. Doesn't get any better.
Thank you very much. I can see that your civil servants have been bending your ear very successfully. I hope that you'll bend their ear and hold their scruff of their neck equally, as is the job of any politician, to stop bureaucrats getting away with running the country as they want. You said about legislation. I assume you mean just the laying of the crag and the secondary legislation process. You're not talking about primary legislation with the Australia deal.
There will be, and you will see it announced, I hope, in the Queen's speech. Clearly I can't fix, but that's the plan, is that there will be the laying of the treaty for ratification. That will be a primary legislation.
Still got hold of that pen. Oops. That noise of her clicking that pen is going to really get right up your nose.
So the treaty will be done via primary legislation?
Australia and New Zealand together, because there are a number of small things that need to be brought in to bring it.
So
into
you won't be enacting CRAG at all. You'll be doing it via primary, because primary.
No. The process. The legislation is on a number of small areas, and this will happen, I think, as we go on, depending on whether the FTA that we negotiate. Already, everything that we've agreed to, we've already got in our legislation, or indeed if there are things we need to change. So it's a few minor things. The time frame.
So
to the same point, I don't know where we'll be in that cycle.
I think it seems pretty clear that Anne-Marie Trevelyan doesn't know anything by the sounds of it.
So CRAG will happen probably first.
The order of things is, the intention is, things can always change. I think we're always happy to have you kind of saying, OK, things have changed. But the current thinking is CRAG is laid, and then after CRAG is approved, then there will become some small technical primary legislation to bring it in order. That's very helpful.
That, I think, is the plan. I hope is the plan. But as you say, yes,
timetabling. Is there any intention to offer the ability of any pre-legislative scrutiny for this committee on the primary legislative aspects, or are you assuming that will be rolled into just our general report?
Happy to discuss that and look at it separately. We're not, until I get to the third session, nothing is, in my head, nothing is. We're not actually, certain yet. So we're happy to come back to that.
I think that would be useful for us to know, because it is a slightly separate process when you're doing primary legislation. You said that it is in the gift of the parliamentary timetable. The government sets the parliamentary timetable, of course. So what discussions have you had with your colleagues, the Leader of the House, to make sure that this committee can have 15 days? Have you had those discussions with the Leader of the House, raising that this committee needs 15 days?
Now, he'll ask this question on a number of occasions, and when I look at her face, she just seems to think it's all one big joke. He's asking the same question just for a simple answer. And to say she talks much about nothing is quite painful.
So the discussions have been about, the process, obviously, because this is new. This is the first time we're doing this, and the House authorities are, fully conversant with the process that exists and what we need to do. So I am not party to who will be doing the scheduling and where we'll fit, but we have discussed obviously the wider areas about FTAs and treaties and the tools that we now have at our disposal as we are moving into this new area of policy. So those discussions are raised. But I can't tell you, because I have not seen, and we won't see until the Queen's speech, what the actual schedule is. But the House authorities are aware, and we have discussed the CRAG process and how that fits.
Of course, the House authorities are aware of the CRAG process. It's laid down, and exactly. I sit on the committee that is reviewing the CRAG process at the moment. So that's all well and fine. Have you pressed the House authorities and the Leader of the House that you would need an additional 15 days to meet this committee's request. You said that you would like to fulfil this committee, but you're bound by the House authorities and the Leader of the House's timetable. So have you communicated officially with the Leader of the House and the House authorities to say that in their timetabling, allowance of 15 days would be what would be required?
So when we were in PBL discussions some
have you had
months
those
ago,
conversations?
yes, a number of weeks ago now, and we set out, our request to have a slot. We obviously set out the issues exactly you say around Crag, and I haven't gone back to them since then with any further discussions. We are now, we wait for the third session to begin.
Sorry to...
At this point, I'd be wanting to shove that pen right up her arse. Here, click, 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 is getting right up my nose.
Press you a little bit.
That's right.
I understand you've had conversations with Crag about Crag. Have you explicitly mentioned this request of the committee and the 15 days to the House authorities, or has that not been something that's been part of your conversations with them?
I didn't have that conversation with them when I was at PBL a few weeks ago.
Would you endeavour, therefore, to contact the House authorities and the Leader of the House to say that this is, and we can do the same as well, but to say
I'm
that
happy
this
to
is
write
a strong,
and express your particular
and
interest.
you would
I'm happy to do
support
that.
request if it is possible for them to fit
I'm
it
happy
in.
to write and set out the very clear intent that you need. Of course
I think that would be appreciative.
Happy
Thank
to do
you.
that.
And, well, at least use that pen for what it's really there used for, not to sit there clicking it, clicking it, clicking it. How many times is she going to do it? And he asked her 3 times the same question, and it was just... I think she just doesn't know what she's doing. I don't think she... When she says, saying this is the first time we've ever done something, that's a little bit like saying, if I jump off this cliff, there's a small chance I'll survive. But I've never tried it before, so I might take a chance. Jesus. Now, this guy, the next guy after, in the next video, he's not impressed whatsoever. He gives her it both barrels. And talk about brutal. Right, I shall leave the video here until the next time. I shall bid you farewell and take care.